Failure does not have to be the end of something. Failure is really, it's just the beginning. Go to that next level, gear up. You've got a whole nother gear, I tell people all the time. You've got another gear you don't even know about, but I see it in you. What do you see? A great day to everybody out there. Once again, Jason Wabach here, host of the Uncheck the Box podcast, where today we continue our journey, our quest, our push to the destination to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. What a great day today. Super blessed here, grateful, all those happy, great feelings. It was a great week. Hopefully for everybody out there as well too. Today, come to the mic. Don't feed the reaction. Kind of like don't feed the animals, right, at the zoo. I should make a sign for my closet. Yeah, don't feed the reaction. Listen, everybody, we are human beings. Speaking of feeding the animals at the zoo, we are animals, right? And we have natural tendencies, and we do things just based on how we're wired and how we're built. And yeah, don't feed the reaction is today's title. It's something it's sprinkled throughout previous episodes. And I was reading a book probably a couple months ago, and I took in my notes from the book, I wrote this down. It says, managing our reactions means being aware when a tough emotion has appeared and understanding that even if we have an initial reaction, we do not need to keep feeding that reaction. So that's where kind of the title was inspired from. Do we keep feeding that reaction? And so I wanted to break down today's quick episode into two sections. And the first section is going to be keys to being a good responder. What are things that we can be mindful of? Things that we can be proactive with in how we respond, or the counterpart, are we reacting, right? So there's a few takeaways I want to give you all. The first key that I want to focus on is mindset. There's a saying that I use. I don't know where I got it from. I got it from somewhere. And I use this quite a bit with all of my coworkers. And the saying goes, either you're part of the problem or you're part of the solution. So when it comes to mindset, it's very simple just to adopt a solution mindset. How we currently view ourselves, is it negative or is it positive? And if it's negative, a lot of times we're probably focusing on being right versus finding a solution, and sometimes taking a step back and using some of these other things we'll talk about, right? So are we part of the problem or are we part of the solution? View our stressors and triggers as challenges and not threats. That's powerful, everyone. Our triggers, our stressors, they're not threats at all if we don't view them that way. But if we view them as challenges, maybe we'll take a step back, we'll analyze, and we'll actually say, hey, listen, I think I can grow from this, I can learn from this, and this is a challenge that I hope I can add some value to bring a solution and help find a solution. If we react, we could become a bigger part of the problem, and that's how a situation can escalate, in some cases, very quickly, everybody. So the first order of business, you have to adopt that solution mindset. And if you start there, it'll be a little bit easier to process versus quickly just shooting from the hip, because you know that very well could possibly be just adding more fuel to the problem. The second key I wanted to focus on is being a good listener. And this is easier said than done. I totally get this, right? So we're triggered, like we just talked about. And now we're going to say this is going to be a challenge and not a threat. If we view it as a threat, then we're going to be quick to respond. But this is a challenge, so we're going to take a step back, and we are now going to listen. We're going to listen to understand, to try to kind of feel our way through this. And there's going to be a lot of information that's going to come our way just because we're going to take that step back and open up our ears. Let's just give the other party the benefit of the doubt. We don't know what somebody's going through. It could be something that is pretty serious. Maybe it's not so serious. Either way, you just don't know all of the backstory of the person you're communicating with. So how can we learn? How can we grow? How can we change our viewpoint for the better if we don't learn to understand? And maybe, and just maybe, we can learn a few things if we process the information that's given our way. We've got two voices in our head, and this is part of the book that I'm reading right now called Us by a pretty well-known therapist by the name of Terry Real. And he talks about we have two voices, if you will, the adaptive child and the wise adult. And it doesn't matter who we are, we always have these two voices yapping at us. And the adaptive child, and we know when this comes up, is very rigid, harsh. It's all about perfection, and it's very simple. It's black and white. Whereas our wise adult is realistic, flexible, warm, but most importantly is very humbled. And it's like we sometimes have these two voices negotiating with each other. And oftentimes we have to say to that adaptive child, you need to shut up right now. It's constantly yapping in our ear, isn't it? There's nothing you can do to quiet it. We just got to learn how to suppress it, how to put it in the corner, say, you're in timeout today because I'm not going to let you control me. Don't react to be right. If we're listening, it's again listening to understand. If you react, you don't listen, and your quick reaction will only be driven by, think about this, your unconscious bias. Ooh, that's a big one right now, everyone. Especially in today's world where we're just so quick to respond, or quick to react, should I say, that we all are pre-wired with unconscious biases, natural beliefs that our mind says is true, that maybe they're not. And how do we learn and how do we move on from some of these biases and change our viewpoint? It's to listen and understand the world and what's going on around us. But if we don't take that time to listen, and we're shooting from the hip, it's only going to come from a place that maybe, just maybe, is a source of information that is not desired at that moment. Our defense is up. We go into survival mode, and there is no long-term consideration, just short-term gain. And that's why sometimes it leaves us in regret. And we say to ourselves, I shouldn't have said that. I don't think I should have said that. I wish I could have that back. Because we chose to speak and not to listen. And ask good questions, everybody. If we are the ones asking the questions, then we are attempting to be better understanding of the viewpoint versus pushing an agenda, especially, again, when it's tied to those unconscious biases. So if we learn to understand, we're going to ask good questions, and then it lets that other person know that we care enough to hear their viewpoint. The next key point is aggressive patience. I've talked about this many times before. We want to be patient, but especially when it comes to doing this tasks, we have to be aggressive at patience. We constantly have to be aware that patience is what we want, is the agenda we want to push here. Don't give in to the natural stimuli. Don't trust how you feel. Your feelings are only a little bit of a, let's just say a mask at this point. We're speaking out of emotion, and our feelings are emotion-driven. So practice aggressive patience. Pause. We take that step back. We're going to pause a moment. And the moment you notice that trigger, just stop. Maybe take a couple breaths, right? Maybe you got to stand up, and maybe it was over the phone and you can step away from the phone and say, I got to call you back later. Go walk around the building or wherever you're at. Recognize the feeling. It is yours. Own that feeling. You're not going crazy, everybody. I tell people all the time, own your feeling. It's legit. But you also can own your response. and how you address it, how you respond to it. And this is the last key that I want to highlight is choice. It is always our choice as to how we respond. You get to own every piece of what you feel. Give it a name, right? So make the one that feeds your soul, the choice meaning, make the choice that feeds your soul with good things as you strive to be the best you. Emit positive energy. We talked about it last week. You may just be a calming influence to somebody who needs that right now. People come guns a-blazing, and then all of a sudden, a few minutes into the conversation, and you're the calming influence, the positive energy that they needed, and they're calmed right down. What a difference you can make in somebody's day when you listen to understand. Then, empower yourself to make the right choice to become the person that people want to talk to. I have run into this countless times where people would say, hey, listen, can I just share something with you? And they just feel comfortable, right? It's because when you listen to understand, people will feel comfortable. And maybe they were a bear. Maybe you walked into a situation that they were an elevated, angry emotion, but just simply you were the one pair of ears that they just wanted just to vent on. And you were there to let them know that you're there to hopefully help them find a solution, if that is possible. Maybe you can't, and just them releasing that information on you was enough to feel better. So, again, very important, everybody. It's your mindset. It's your ability to listen, your willingness and discipline to practice aggressive patience, and also your knowledge of it being a choice and making the right one. Now, when we get good at these key points, there are some benefits, and I'll just rattle off a few of them. I think these are no-brainers. It didn't really take much energy, things we probably already know, but just to name a few, the first benefit is trust. You get to build trust with another person. And remember, everybody, no two people are the same. When you listen to them, they will tell you how you can help them. When you react too quickly before understanding the big picture, you may not be helping them at all. In fact, some of the information you're giving them, or some of the finger quotes advice you're giving them, is not the thing that they need right now. So you build trust when you take the time to step back, listen, and then you respond based off of the information you collected. Plus, they know that you're listening to them. And then hopefully when you're listening to them, you're affirming their answers. Because guess what? That's how they feel, and they get to own their feelings and emotions just like you get to own your feelings and emotions. So please, everybody, give credence to that. The second one is this is where you build and form relationships. Some short-term, some long-term, but relationships are extremely special and very important, and they are done through the first one, and that is trust. Another one, positive change leads to a sense of accomplishment. So when you're a motivator out there and you're a catalyst for change in a positive way, it gives you this immense sense of accomplishment that you're out there doing good, making the world a better place, making your work environment a better place. And I'm telling you what, everybody, I know you can appreciate this, that there is nothing better than having that heartwarming sense of accomplishment. And then lastly, you become a better you. Isn't that why we're all here today, right? That you become better. Positive energy breeds more positive energy. But one thing that's very important, everyone, I said it early on today, we are human, so you have to make sure that you forgive yourself. Okay? Because sometimes passion in a positive way can lead to passion in a negative way. We all fall and we all make mistakes, and sometimes we all will be very quick to react. I'm guilty of that as we sit here. It's something that I constantly focus on, and I have become a much better listener, more patient, more understanding. But every now and then when you're passionate about something, sometimes you react and you want to be right? You speak to be right. So this is something that I know I always remind myself constantly. So everybody, listen. Let's be good listeners out there. Let's be good responders. There's plenty of benefits why it's important that we do that. And hopefully today you had a couple of few good takeaways on how you can change for the better. Again, like I just said, to make our environment, our space, just a little bit better. So listen, everyone, appreciate you today. Appreciate you stopping by. I hope you have a great rest of your day, phenomenal week, and then we will see you next week. Appreciate you all. Take care.